Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we're gonna sit down, we're gonna chat. If you guys wanna grab a coffee, grab some wine. We're just gonna chit chat about me being a year postpartum. I'm gonna talk about just what I've been going through lately and just where I'm at postpartum and all the craziness that comes with that. I've been wanting to talk about some things like weaning off of nursing and just my mental health and all of that. And really now is like a good time for me to like sit down and reflect on this past year, what I've learned from being a mom of two and all of that. So this is probably just gonna be a chatty video where you can just throw it on in the background if you wanna go clean your house, if you wanna go do something else, fold laundry while you listen to me ramble about life, then this video is for you. So let's see where I can start. This time around, I didn't ask you guys for like particular questions, but there are some things that you guys have been asking me over and over again. So number one, I still have not gotten my period back. Okay, let's just start off with that. I am kind of concerned because I still haven't gotten a regular period back and it's been a year now. So I don't know how common that is. Like, I don't know when you guys got your cycles back, but I don't think it took a whole year last time with Riley. Like when I was postpartum with Riley, I feel like I got it back sooner. So that's physically, as far as my weight goes, I'm like 119 pounds since Christmas just passed. I think I gained like a good like 4 or 5 pounds. I had my parents in town. We had a good time and I ate a lot of cheese and I drank a lot of wine and I think I gained like a good 4 or 5 pounds. But I'm happy with my weight. I'm happy physically, like where I see my body. I still to this day get asked like how I'm feeling down there postpartum, and I feel great. I just want to say that. I want to put that out there. Maybe that's TMI, but I don't have any kind of pain down there in that area, and I'm very happy about that because with Riley it took me a good maybe 9 months to like feel back to normal down there, and I feel great. I've felt great for a really long time, so at this point it's like I didn't even have a baby. I feel perfectly normal in that department. But I can tell you is that I am exhausted. Okay, I can tell you that lately I've just been, there's no other word than absolutely exhausted. Okay, the entire day I am spending chasing after both of the kids, and I like hardly ever have a minute to sit down. Like I was just thinking about it today. Like every single time that I went to go sit down today, I was like, oh no, Riley, I gotta change your diaper. Oh, Jackson, I gotta change your diaper. Or Jackson, no, don't put that in your mouth. Riley, what are you doing? Oh no, you can't use that marker on the floor. Like I was the entire day, every time that I tried to sit down, I was having to get back up. So that is like very much my workouts these days, like just the up and down and the non-stop of my life. And I'm very tired. My body is very tired, and I'm 30 years old. If you guys are new here by any chance, like I don't know how moms do it when they get pregnant. Like there's some women that get pregnant at like 40 years old, and I think that's great. I think that's great that they can bring life into this world, but like they must be freaking tired because I'm 30 years old and I'm exhausted. But we'll kind of touch on that, I guess, at some point later in this video. But the biggest thing that I want to talk about is about the whole nursing and the weaning, because I've been showing a lot of videos lately of me giving Jackson whole milk, and I've been telling you that I've been giving him whole milk in a sippy cup and all of that, and I am doing that, but I still am nursing Jackson in the morning and I'm nursing him right before bed. So I'm still kind of comfort nursing, and the way that I explain it is I am nursing him mostly for comfort. I don't really count on that breastfeeding session as like the ounces that he needs to get every day. I haven't yet posted Jackson's 12-month update. That one will be coming soon. But when I took him to the doctor for his 12-month update, they told me that he should be drinking about 16 ounces of whole milk. So I try to make sure that throughout the day he's getting 16 ounces of that whole milk. I give it to him cold, straight from the fridge, put it in his little sippy cup, and then he drinks it out of the straw. But then in addition to that, what I do is I'll still nurse him in the morning like I always have. And then what I have been doing is cutting back on the like nap time nursing sessions. I used to nurse him like every time I would put him down for his nap, so that's twice a day. In the middle of the day I would nurse him, and I've started to like not do that anymore. So now what I'm trying to do is like establish a new nap time routine with him. And before, I would go into his room, sit on the recliner, sit on the little chair and nurse him, and then he'd get drowsy and sometimes he'd fall asleep. Sometimes I would just get him drowsy and put him in his crib. Instead, now what I do is I take him in there, I read him a book, and I sing him a song, kind of do the same thing where I get him drowsy, and then I put him in his crib. And so far that has worked really great. I think like the first couple days he was like, whoa, like what the heck, like, and he was like reaching for my boobs, you know, trying to nurse. So it took him a couple days to kind of like figure out that no, mama's not doing that anymore. But I know that he's pretty much like ready. Like even when I would nurse him, it's not like he was super interested in my boobs anymore. Like it wasn't like a huge thing for him. So I think that as far as like weaning goes, like both you and your baby have to be ready to do that. And I think that Jackson and myself have been ready to kind of like drop some of those nursing sessions and stuff like that. And honestly, like I thought that when I did that, I thought that when I started dropping those nursing sessions, that then my boobs were gonna be super full the whole day, or that I was gonna be uncomfortable, and I'm not. Okay, so that goes to show you like how very little he must be have like been getting from my boobs. So that's why I really count on the whole milk from the refrigerator to like, that's his nutrients, because I know that he's not getting a whole lot from my breast anymore. I'm not yet sure when I'm going to drop nursing entirely, like when I'm going to say goodbye to the morning and the nighttime nursing sessions. I'm trying to take it a day at a time, not trying to do it faster than what I'm ready. You know, emotionally it's a lot to think about ending that nursing journey, and like I'm not quite there yet, but dropping the nap ones is fine with me. And you know, I think that that's been a good plan for us. So you got to do whatever you feel comfortable with, and don't let anybody pressure you into stopping nursing, you know, any quicker or any longer than you want to. Like, it's just between you and your baby, and that's it. So now let's talk a little bit about my mental health. This is like a big topic for me like this week, because like yesterday I shared something on my Instagram account and I was getting a lot of messages from you guys, and I think it's something that's good actually to talk about now. So somebody actually, like the other day I did one of those Q&As on Instagram where I asked you guys to ask me questions, and somebody wrote like, hey, do you really have anxiety, or is it just something that you throw out there that you just say all the time? And yes, that was a pretty rude question. Like some of you guys commented back and you're like, how can that person ask that question? Like, yes, people are rude. I've already acknowledged that. But yes, I have anxiety, and anxiety is not something that I take lightly, and it's not something that, you know, I just throw out there. Like, I know that there are people that really struggle with their mental health, and I have come to terms with the fact that I also struggle with my mental health. So as far as anxiety goes, I've been very open here on my channel about my postpartum anxiety, and I know that it has to be postpartum anxiety because the question that a lot of you guys ask is, were you always this anxious before you had kids? And I was not. Like, maybe I had a little bit of anxiety here and there, but it has never been this bad. And even after I had Riley, my anxiety was nowhere near as bad as it's been since I had Jackson. So I feel like with every child that I have had, my anxiety has gotten just worse and worse. And like, I don't know how much of it is like having a kid, how much of it is just like your world experience, and like now that I'm an adult, like how much of that plays into my anxiety. But I think back to like when I was in college and high school, and like the things that I used to do, and I'm like, how on earth did you used to do that? Like, you could have died, you could have like been abducted, and it's just insane to me that I was just oblivious to like all of the fears that I have now. And I don't know if it's just that you become a mom and you're like, oh my god, like I have this baby, I have these kids that I have to take care of, and like I spend the entire day like scared that something's gonna either happen to them or to me, and like I live on edge all the time. And I know that a lot of you guys have messaged me and you're like, you don't have to live that way, and you don't have to be scared to go to Target by yourself, like there's medication that you can take. And I did get a lot of questions yesterday about whether or not I was gonna be looking into taking meds and all of that. So I'm not opposed to meds. I just want to say that first and foremost. You guys don't remember back when I had my panic attack a few months back, I did go see a doctor, and my initial thought was, okay, the doctor's gonna see me and put me on some kind of medication. But the doctor instead was like, no, we need to check out your heart, because I was having like heart palpitations. And so he wanted me to get a full cardiologist workup. I did that. My heart came back totally fine. And the only reason I didn't push for meds after that is because I was still nursing Jackson. And I'm sure that there are some things that are perfectly fine for you to take if you're nursing or whatever, but I chose to like not take any meds while I was nursing Jackson, just for my own peace of mind, and I just felt better about it that way. So now that I'm probably not going to be nursing him for very much longer, once I'm not nursing him anymore, I may go back to that doctor and explore some different options, because a lot of you guys have told me that you've had a lot of success with like different medications. I think Zoloft is one of them. I honestly haven't done enough research to tell you like what I would look into, but I know that there has to be something that I can take that's gonna make me feel a little bit less anxious all the time, because you know, I don't wanna, this is not like a sad sob story video, and I really don't want it to be like a super emotional one, but I spend a lot of my days thinking that I'm gonna die, having irrational thoughts, thinking that airplanes are gonna fall into my house, like fall out of the sky and kill me and my children. Like irrational things that when you say them out loud, you're like, Okay, like this is, the chances of this happening are absolutely zero, or like very, very close to zero. And if that really happened, like, dear Lord, that was when God chose for you to die, because it would be that random and crazy. You know, I'm absolutely terrified that my kids are gonna choke, which, you know, choking is a real fear. It's like something that can actually happen, and there are children that die every year from choking and drowning and real life things like that can happen. I do think that it's good to like be prepared and to take CPR classes and to be prepared in case, God forbid, that were to ever happen. But like the amount of times that I think about that all day long, that cannot be healthy for me. Like I am, you know, just very, very on edge, and it's hard for me to relax. And even when I am just relaxed, doing nothing, just watching TV or something, I'm thinking in the back of my head about like these random things that, you know, could happen. So needless to say, I will be trying to explore some options. And thank you guys so much for like all the messages that you've sent with your experiences and with your advice and suggestions. So I'm very appreciative of that. Like, it's good to know that other people have done well with different medications or different forms of therapy, because like the mental load of motherhood is just insane. And it's something that I was thinking about a lot, that I guess is appropriate to talk about in this video. You know, being a year postpartum, you know, I did one official year of being a mom of 2, and I survived somehow, because both of my children, you know, are just out to like give me a heart attack these days. But there's just so much that goes into being a mom, and like all of us, every single person watching this video deserves so much credit, because there's not only just the day-to-day, you know, feed your child, put them to sleep, you know, like the basic stuff, but the mental load that goes into being a mom. Like at least like this month, like the last 2 months have been crazy for me, right? Because we had both of the kids' birthdays, we had Christmas. So I was the one buying the gifts, making sure that we had all the stuff for their birthday parties set up. I was the one buying all the Christmas gifts, buying the Christmas gifts for the kids, buying the gifts for other family members, wrapping the gifts. And like, I'm not here to say that Joe doesn't help me, because you guys know how I feel about Joe helping me. He helps me with a ton of stuff around the house. He cooks, he cleans, he's the one that does all of that. He's a huge help, and I wouldn't be able to like get through half of my day without him. But even with that help that he gives me, like there's just still so much that we take on. You know, we wash the kids' clothes, we have to put it away. We're the ones that buy, for the most part, the stuff for the kids, making sure they have all of their winter gear, making sure that they have shoes in the right size and clothes in the right size and a size up, because they also need it for when they outgrow that stuff. If your kids go to school, I'm sure you're the one that's on top of them for their homework and making sure that they have all the stuff for their projects and buying all the supplies for the projects. And like, there's just all this stuff that you have to constantly be on top of and juggle and worry about, in addition to the day-to-day, like I said, cooking and putting them down to sleep and bathing them. And it's just a lot. Like, I never truly understood like how much went into being a mom. And maybe that sounds so stupid and naive, but now that I have 2 of them, I'm realizing just how, you know, how much there is to it. And it is the greatest blessing of my life, my 2 children. I love them to death more than anything, but you can love them and be exhausted at the same time. And that's kind of where I'm at. Like, it's hard. The age gap between my 2 kids right now is very hard, because Riley just turned 3 and Jackson just turned 1. And they both demand a lot of my attention. And, you know, there's times that Riley wants to play. And if I had 2 kids that were like both Riley's age, like the same age, it would honestly be really easier, because I could be doing the same thing with both of them. But the fact that like Jackson won't sit still, so he's crawling around the floor, so I can't like just be playing with Riley. I've got to go find out what he's doing, making sure he's not putting something in his mouth. Then the fact that like Riley has like little pieces from the toys that she plays with, you know, those are choking hazards for him. So I'm constantly trying to, you know, make sure that he's not getting into her things. Like something as simple as like, she just got a dry erase board, an easel thing like for Christmas. So it has like a dry erase marker, and she plays with it on her little blue table that's downstairs. And you know, she likes to play with it, so I let her play with it. But when she's done, you know, she leaves a marker there on the table, and then she goes and she randomly plays with something else. And if I'm not watching that blue marker, Jackson can very easily go and grab it and then start coloring my walls. So I do feel like there's just so much pressure to be literally watching them all day long, and I can't. Like, I have other things that I have to do. I cannot just stare at my kids all day. So that's what I'm learning to kind of deal with right now. Like, it's a lot, but despite how hard it is, like, you know, I think I do a decent job, right? Like both of my kids are still fine, they're alive, they're healthy, they are fed. Yes, occasionally my kids fall and bump their heads. Yes, occasionally Jackson just throws himself over, and I've had to like learn how to like understand that kids are still kids and you can't prevent them from like bumping their heads. And you know, there are going to be certain times when they are going to cry, when they are going to have an accident. You know, yesterday Jackson ate a window cling, and I've shared this story already, I think, in a vlog, and I shared a story also on Instagram. But I was looking at him, like I was looking at my child, and he had a window cling, you know, like the little jelly window clings that you put on the windows, the festive ones, and he had a window cling in his hand, but I thought it was too big for him to eat. So I was like, no way is this child going to eat this window cling. And sure enough, the next day when I was changing his diaper, there's a red window cling, and I'm like, what on earth? Like, I didn't have to deal with half of that stuff with Riley. Riley was never about putting stuff in her mouth and eating things that she wasn't supposed to. Jackson is a wild child. Jackson is like out to put everything and anything in his mouth. And so I do the best that I can. I'm doing the best that I can, you know, and trying to not beat myself up when there are moments when, you know, things like that happen. But anyway, I know that I'm rambling about all of that. I think that overall, I feel really good about where I am right now. Yes, the anxiety is something that I need to get under control, but for the most part, I feel good. I am back to drinking coffee, by the way, because I've seen a lot of messages about whether or not I'm still drinking coffee. I've shared already before, but yes, I'm drinking coffee. Usually it's no more than like a cup a day. I don't have like 3 and 4 cups of coffee a day, because then I know that for sure like my heart palpitations are going to be through the roof. And honestly, it's just like this never-ending journey of trying to do the best that I can to juggle all of the things that I need to take care of. There are some days when I'm a little bit more chill, where I'm able to kind of like sit back and just play with the kids all day long, you know, sit on the floor and do all the things with them. But then there's other days that my to-do list, like my personal to-do list, is a little bit longer, and I have to kind of get over that mom guilt of, you know, oh my god, I'm not playing with them every minute of the day. Like, I have to acknowledge that there has to be parts of the day when like I can do my own thing, when I can take care of the house, or I can fold laundry, or I can try to organize a space, or even if I just want to take, you know, 15 minutes for myself to watch a YouTube video or work on my YouTube stuff, right? Work on my business stuff. Because for me, and like being on YouTube, like it's not an easy balance. Like, it's easy in the sense that yes, I'm home and I'm able to work and bring in an income while I'm with my kids, right? Like, I don't have to put my kids in daycare to go to work. Like, I feel very blessed I can do that, and I have like my own thing that I'm very proud of and that like keeps me motivated personally. But if I were to tell you that it was easy, like, I'd be straight up lying. My life would probably be way easier if I didn't do YouTube at all. And that's just me being straight up honest with you. If I was a stay-at-home mom, didn't have YouTube, I would have more time to focus on cooking and cleaning and doing laundry and making this house spotless and having, you know, dinner ready for Joe when he got home. So yes, I feel like things would run a little smoother. I'm now trying to fit in this extra thing while acknowledging that like all that other stuff has to happen. And so it's, you know, a little bit of a chaotic mess, like, to be honest with you. Like, there are some days that are better than others, but there are some days when I'm really busy, and, you know, something is always gonna have to give. That's something that I've learned like in the last 3 years. Like, I don't think that you can do everything. And that's why I think that sometimes it's a little unrealistic when people make it seem like they have all of their stuff together, because you can't. You cannot give 100% attention to your kids all the time, and also 100% attention to keeping your house clean, 100% attention to all of the other things that I mentioned. Like, there's always a give and take in motherhood. And I think that the best thing that we can do for ourselves is to like realize that, and to like give ourselves that grace that, you know what, you don't have to have a home cooked meal every single day. Or if you do, it's very plain. Like, my meals are just like chicken and macaroni and broccoli, and that's what I had last night. And it's so funny because somebody messaged me and they're like, I want that recipe for the macaroni, and I was like, what the heck, it came out of a box. It came from the Simply Organic whatever Aldi brand. I literally poured the macaroni in the boiling water and I put the cheese little packet on it. Like, that was my macaroni, you know. So just understanding that like not everything is gonna be super fancy all the time, not everything is gonna be always spotless, and that's okay, because as moms there's so much that goes into maintaining a household, and it's okay that not all of it is done all the time because you're human and it's very difficult. So let's try to have some more grace with ourselves. And the other thing that I think is important to note is that I don't think that there's anything wrong with asking for some help. If you can afford help, if you want help, ask for help. Like if you have family members that can help you in any way, ask them. Like I really, you know, this year has been hard because I don't have my parents in my backyard like I used to. You know, I used to be able to have my mom over my house once or twice a week, and I used to be able to get so much more done, and it was that break that I truly loved and needed at that point in my life. I would love to have more breaks. I would love to be able to just have somebody watch my kids for just a couple hours a day, you know, and to be able to leave them with my mom would be great. But right now I don't have that. So if you are lucky enough that you do, ask for the help. Something that I am going to be doing in the new year, once we get back from my sister's wedding and all of that, I am going to try to get a company into my house to clean it at the very least once a month, okay? Because I've come to terms with the fact that I am not going to clean my house. Like I'm not going to get on my hands and knees and clean my house. I've talked about it before, you know, I kind of scrub things here and there when things look out of control and dirty. But if I have it in my budget to spend, I don't know, like 150 bucks or whatever it is to get my house cleaned, I'm going to sacrifice other things in my budget to have my house clean so I don't have to worry about that. So I'm trying to like reevaluate some of my priorities so that that's just one less thing that I have to do. That way, if Riley is telling me 37,000 times a day, Mama, can you play with me? Mama, can you play with me? I don't have to think like, oh man, I should be cleaning the kitchen, or man, I really need to scrub that toilet. I can say, okay, you know what? Let me go do that. So that's a learning lesson, you know, that I've taken away from this year. You only have two hands, you know? You're a mom and you are a super freaking human. The fact that you're a mom and the fact that you do take care of a tiny human or tiny humans, like, I don't know. I don't know how people have 5+ children. Like, how on earth do you do it? How do you do it? I love the idea of it, but I'm struggling with two. I'm struggling with two, and I'm like, I can't imagine. As much as I love the idea of my family growing, right? I love the idea of having 3 kids. Like, the idea of it, I love. But like the practicality, logistics of it, how do you do it? So I know that that's a lot of rambling, and it's a lot of me just kind of complaining about how difficult it is to be a mom. But that's the reality. The reality is that it's hard. And having 1 kid is hard. Having 2 kids, in my opinion, is even harder. But we make it work and we figure things out because that's what we do. And we just need to be gentle with ourselves. And that's something that I've had to do a lot of this year. And yes, like every once in a while, I'll tell my mom like, look what Riley did, or look what Jackson did. And my mom will be like, well, how did they do that? Were you not watching them? Or, you know, she'll make a comment like that. And I'll be like, Mother, like I was watching them. Or literally I turned around for 1 second and they were doing this. So I've had to be a little gentler with myself and acknowledge that yes, occasionally I'm gonna forget to put Riley's milk cup in the sink and it stays out overnight, and then the next day it smells like absolute garbage. Or sometimes I do forget a dirty diaper in one of the rooms and the next day it smells like garbage. You know, things like that happen, and just being like, okay, you know, next time I'll do better. And that's literally how I live my life. Like, I fail, I make mistakes, I mess stuff up, and I'm like, okay, next time I'll do better. But we are human, and there's only so much that we can do. Really, we need to love our kids, we need to be there for them, and I think I've done a pretty good job at that. So in that sense, I am not hard on myself. In that sense, I know that I love my kids more than anything, and that I'm trying my best. And I think that in and of itself makes me a pretty damn good mom. So that, my friends, is going to be my 1-year postpartum update. I hope that you guys have enjoyed these chit chat sessions with me going through my entire postpartum process this past year. It's been a ride. It's been a ride, and it's been the most beautiful, awesome, crazy thing in the world. But I thank you guys seriously, like, just for being a part of it and being involved and, you know, going through this motherhood thing with me. It has definitely made the entire experience so much better, being able to vent to you guys and being able to connect with you guys and to share all of my, you know, failures and learning lessons, and every once in a while advice and things that I've done that have helped me with you guys. And it means absolutely everything to me. So thank you for being here. Thank you for being here and for being a part of this community. And I just want you guys to know how much I love you and how much you guys mean to me. So thank you guys again. If you guys have any questions that I didn't answer here, leave them down below and I will try to answer them for you guys. But I love you guys. Make sure to give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.